Well, hello guys. This is Kevin from Kevin's Tiny Trains. Today we're going to do a full layout tour, layouts tour of both of my layout, the main one that are working. This one, the main N scale layout, will not be shown because it's simply not built yet. This section looks completed, but it's not even started. It's my old section that I will be reusing. This is my 2026 project, so we will see that along the way throughout the year. But for now, let's go around and go through my two other layouts, which is the tiny N scale and the big HO. Come along for the ride. So first off, here is my tiny 2x4 N scale layout. It is a folded dog bone design. It goes up there from in the mountain, around the layout, over the layout. It will go down the 4% incline, and this is a 9 3/4 inch radius, so this is a pretty tight radius. Underneath itself, through the tunnel, and then we'll come back out of the tunnel to come to the straight here, which is another incline, the same 4% incline, to go back up the layout. It's a pretty simple design with one turnout for a siding. It's more a decorative siding. I guess you could do switching, but there's nowhere to bring the cars to. It's more swapping what's on the train. The 4% grade makes it that you can't run any long trains. I have a few Kato engines that do pull a good amount of cars up that grade, but anything too long looks out of place on this layout. I think needing a shorter train on such a small layout makes sense. It has the potential to look like it's going a far distance, even though it is only a 2 feet by 4 feet layout. It's nothing big. Also, since this is a bi-level layout with a folded dog bone design, there's a lot more track than a simple loop, which makes it more interesting to watch and makes a longer run for a lap for the train. So it's not just a loop. A few things I really like about this layout is a few scenes I've created. First off, I like the idea of the couple just hanging out watching the train go by on top of the hill, leaning against their car. I'm really proud of this mountain. The cracks were actually by accident, but they ended up great. They were adding to the layout. It's just age and work and moving the layout that created this, but I'm really happy with the results. This little town scene in the park where there's a couple just hanging out, there's a hot dog stand, who doesn't like hot dogs, and overall just the quiet times of people relaxing. I thought it was a nice little addition. I put some sports car all around the layout because I do like sports cars, especially Japanese one. That's why there's the Fast and Furious cars at the back of the shop here. These little buildings are just small additions that I think really fill out the place well. The lighting system in the building is just a cheap set of Christmas light that I got from the dollar store. I think it turned out actually great. I know they're sticking out like this because they're not through the layout, they're just around. But in the dark, they add to a nice ambiance. I will add the clip of my little RDC going around the layout with the lights down low with these lights on. It really brings life into the layout. Now we'll do some shots around the layout, just some scenic view, and then we'll switch to the HO scale layout. Next up is the HO scale layout. This beast of a 10 feet by 14 feet HO scale L-shaped layout. It all starts here at the control panel, where we can see my DC and DCC controller with a few switches that are not all wired in for the sightings. I might not keep these switches, long story, but at least they're there for now. So with these switches there, we have the main switch, which is not just the main line, but everything, the whole layout. Are we going DC or DCC? I will not go both system at the same time, just to avoid shorts and killing stuff. This way is the safest way. It's either DC or DCC for the entire thing. Then we have this little switch, the programming track, which is the one right here, right there, which we can put it on the main, middle is off, and programming track option to program DCC locos. This has been very useful, especially since I do have a USB cable to plug into my computer that's right there, just to show, to really program and do even backups of the programming on my locomotives. And then we have this Digitrax DCS 52 Zephyr Express controller, which I think works great. It does everything that I need, and because it has a USB port, it is connected to a computer with JMRI. Like I said, I can back up my programming or do advanced programming, but I can also use my computer to have Y-throttle and control my trains through a phone, which is very fun when we have guests over and they want to control the train. They can just open up their phone, install Train Driver app on Android. I'm not sure what the equivalent is for iPhone, but there is one out there, and they can control a train or even two, while I control 1 or 2 trains on my side, and even 3 with the controller. So let's start it up, and let's hear my beautiful Via Rail engine start up. Alright, so let's follow my trains around. This layout is composed of 2 loops. One is the inner loop, that is a flat oval where the freight is currently passing by, and the other one is the bigger figure 8 loop, I guess, the over and under loop. It's the one the passenger is currently running on. We will see the slot car track later down the video. For now, we're going to focus on the trains. I have some scenery done, but clearly not all. As you can see here, they're both turning around together, but then they will separate over there, where the passenger train goes down the tunnel and down a level, while the freight train stays up. The freight train will right away come back where it was, while the passenger train will go under, technically itself, by going under the bridge, going across the lower level yard, called the lower level simply because it's at the lower part, go through this bridge, going around the roundhouse, which doesn't have a roundhouse yet. This turntable is great, but is the older model from Atlas. I'm thinking of getting the newer one later down the line to have more stalls, because this one has a big spacing in between. Once the train goes up the hill, which is at 3% grade on average, and then a 2% there is a siding that is the perfect length for the Via Rail passenger train to fit on. It was designed on purpose, so I can park the train there without having to take it off the track when I don't want to use it, or when I want to use something else on that main line, the longer main line. By going around like this, you've seen the entire figure 8 of the layout. And now we'll go through some of the scenes I really like. First scene is this one, where the upper yard is and where the interlocking tower is. I really like this area because it has a lot of turnouts. It gives you the option to switch from one loop to the other both ways without having to back up. It also has a diamond between the yard and the center loop, I call, which is just the center track that shortens the inner loop or the upper loop, but also adds to the action with a diamond. The tower there is a kit from Walters that I've detailed, and I've also designed and 3D printed the interior for it. I'm very happy with it, and I will continue to work on it to make it bridge even is another obvious scene that I really like. Of course, it's not done. There's a lot of guardrails to do, but at least you can see really the point of view that most people have when they come into the layout room, and you can see why it's such an interesting point of view by having two bridges, both curved, and a turnout on a bridge go over itself and also go over a yard. I really like the way it looked and the way it flowed, and I think is my favorite part of the layout in terms of scenery. It's this area. Not only is it very interesting because of all the switching options here, where the main line are moving around and you can really switch from one to the other, and also just looks very interesting to go through. But I think this is my best hill. I guess it's a hill. It's not super high, being the level of the train, maybe even a little lower than the train, but high enough to be a scenic view block, I guess. But also it's a very detailed part where I put a lot of grass colors, leftover track pieces, as the railroad would do. Here you can really see the ballast, the two layers of ballast, the gray sub roadbed and the brown roadbed that I've installed. I know brown roadbed is not common for most of you, but since in my area the roadbed is mostly brown, I decided to represent my area. Obviously this mountain is another very big piece, a piece I'm proud of. I made both styles of trackage in a mountain where it has a tunnel and a cut. I wanted to represent both simply because I like both and I didn't know which one I'd prefer, so I thought, why not both? And also it really differs the two lines from each other. You really see one is the flat version where it's the cut through and it stays high, while the tunnel, since it's going down a grade, being hidden really brings it even more realistic. Next up, we're going into the slot car section. We will do a demo of the cars running later, and we will run them during the next live stream as well, which I recommend you to join. They're really fun. This is just an addition because I really like slot cars and I just really like cars in general. So this is my way of including and having fun, and it's also technically a car system that you control yourself going at insane speeds, like 400 miles an hour with a calm slow train coming up. I really like this layout and the inclusion of a slot car track, and yes, I had to extend the layout to make fit the slot car track the way I wanted. It is a very simple figure eight that's just going over itself. It's basically just slightly extended with a bit more curves. Here is the car, a car, one of my favorite car running through the layout. It is nothing incredible, but to me it's really fun. Like I said, it adds to the layout, it adds some life. Yes, I added the lights. I do have a tutorial on how to add lights to these cars. I will be adding some scenery around the slot car track, just like the rest of the layout. Of course, it'll be a bit more bulletproof for when the cars fly off, but it's gonna be fine. For example, at the back, I want to do a cityscape with some tower, like skyscraper, facing the outside, but it'll be just flat pieces reinforced at the back so that if the car flies off into it, it'll catch the car, not break anything. Same for around here. I want to do a slight mountainside so that it really catches the cars in case something happens. This layout, well, slot car track, was more designed with the able to run type of mindset, meaning that the clearance is good for the semis as well. Those can and will run on the track, and it is an absolute blast to run them, but it is a little bit more difficult, so it requires a bit more skill. If you want to see them run, join me on the live streams and we will run them. The plan with that is to have this layout run any kind of car, with including semis, just for fun, and a simple layout to run so that everyone can enjoy it. The other one back there will also be a completed slot car track, but this one will have some pieces that can only be used with faster cars or just simply cars, and will be used as a more advanced track. I have no idea of the layout. That'll be built later down the road when I do more progress on the layout. But for now, we will definitely be enjoying this one as is because I find it very enjoyable. I hope everyone enjoyed the layout tour, or more layouts, and I hope you guys want to see me continue progress on this because I absolutely do intend to keep progressing and posting about the layouts. I think the N scale layout is pretty much done. There's a few knickknacks here to really blend in the sceneries, but other than that, it's just a few details. This one, there's a ton of scenery to do still, but I will take my time to really do it properly. I think it adds a lot to the experience, but it also is just relaxing and fun to do. The main project is the main N-scale layout, as I talked at the intro, that I really want to work on. I do have a track plan. This will be an upcoming video. Basically, the first video of the main N-scale layout will be the track plan and tips and tricks to do a track plan for yourself with the dimensions you have, and also all sorts of stuff. There is a lot to do on that layout, but it is so worth it because I really love my N-scale and I have so much good rolling stock that I really want to use. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and join us on the live stream. And have a great week!